All right, let's get started here for the day. Welcome to weekly GraphQL community meeting. Valeria is not here today. Well, he may be joining later, but for now he's absent, so we'll get started without him. Let me share the agenda for the day. Shared it in Slack about 15 minutes ago. So we've got some topics here around stored payment methods first. Then we'll move on to adding new products to WishList by SKU. Next one is adding configurable products to cart. Our contributor, unfortunately, is not here today for that one, but he recorded a little video that we'll share with everyone. And then the last one is we had a bug come through about incorrect return values for the product count field. So let's get started. I will pass word to Pablo. I think he's on the call already, so I'm gonna stop sharing and let you take it away, Pablo.
Hey guys, I show my screen. Let me check. Okay. I will show you this store payment method. And I think I already log in with my user. Let me check. Yeah, I'm logging in. I have two different payments already stored in with this user. Check to the query. Okay, and that's it. This query for get the list for the payment. This user have two different payments, and now I show what a new payment. Only the copy. Okay. And right. Okay. That's it. New payment method.
So does the mutation allow somebody to add a card to their account without running a transaction?
Sorry, I don't listen to you.
Yeah, my question is, so normally you can, so a shopper can add a card in the current Luma theme when they place an order, right? When they pay with a card, they have an option to save it for later, and that's how they add the card to their account. But with this mutation, are you able to add a card to your account without running a payment transaction?
Yes, because this token not is only for the payment. I think with this you are able to save the account. For example, the payment the PayPal account in this, not only for the card. And yes, one option is to add for the backend to the payment after the customer make a order. I make this to if something need to migrate the token for not use the REST API, use GraphQL for the migration and integration with another system.
Okay, so potentially part of this is going to be reused when we implement the kind of payment processing with credit cards too, where you'll need an option to be able to save the card for later, right?
Yes, yes. That is an option. Okay, well, I continue to show this the part of the mutation for the delete. The delete is some tricky because, well, okay, I show this to delete the new one for this. This tricky because when I delete the token, well, Magento return the delete is okay, but if I hit again, return, that is true again. That is because let me show. I use the repository for delete the token, and the implementation of the Magento for the delete. Not it delete is only an inactive the token. In the database is still here, and the public token is here. That is because when I try to delete again, this return as true. And if I check if I send the query to show again, it's not appear. And not to show that this active false or if it's will false. This is because when I show the list, I use some filter. Check. That I use a filter to show only the visible and active, not show all of the customer token.
Yeah, I think I was gonna point this out because so my assumption is that we store tokens that are not visible. Visible, I'm assuming means just whether it's shown on storefront to the shopper. Is that right?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, so my assumption is that we use non-visible tokens to manage things like basically like order management actions by the admin, right? It's things like partial capture or partial refund, things like that.
Yes.
So I think on storefront, I don't know whether we need the visible flag at all. Because
yeah, that is true because only show the visible.
Right, exactly. So it should only always return what's visible to the customer and not show any, it shouldn't have that property basically exposed. I think
Yes.
that makes sense to me unless we actually do use non-visible tokens on the storefront for some operations, but I don't think so.
That's right. That's right. I will remove these active and visible flags for the query.
And we have same approach for, let's say, products on storefront. Like if product is not visible, you just cannot get it via GraphQL API, and that's why there is no need to have visibility.
Okay, sounds good. I think that is all from my side.
Cool. I was going to mention one last thing is I know that there's work going on basically independently to on the deleting of tokens, and because currently we don't remove the token from the payment processor when we call delete tokens, and there was a request basically for us to start doing that. So I don't know if that work ever got complete, but let me actually I found it. Let me just send this to you, Pablo, in case you want to take a look. I don't know if it's 100% relevant, but something that I'll put in the chat right here in the Zoom, so that anyway, it may not have an impact, but just in case so you're aware. I think everything you've done with deleting tokens is probably okay. So cool, thank you. Let me ask if anybody else on the call has any questions about the payment token management. Cool. Sounds like a no. Okay. So next on the agenda, we've got adding products to WishList by SKU. and that's by Alex, right?
Yes, it's me. So can you hear me well?
Yes, we hear you very fine, thanks.
Okay, so let me share my screen and I'll show you what was done. So, yeah, it's okay. Can you see my screen?
Yep.
Yeah, so it's pretty simple because it's almost obvious what it will does. It's adding new products to WishList by SKUs. So what I'm going to show you is just the process. It's pretty simple too. So as you can see, I'm created some new customer. And here is my wish list and it's empty. And what I'm going to do is just to add some new product. I created an admin panel. So the mutation is pretty simple and everything is correct. I've based my pull request basically on the functionality created before by some other guy. So I've included his all his code into my pull request, and he actually approved it. And I based all my logic basically on wish list items and wish list. Basically, here is how it looked on the schema. So basically nothing so complicated. I'm just adding this new mutation, and everything is based on the wish list, and we will return wish list. So wish list item.
Do we use this input keyword anywhere else? Because I know we have filter for products. Is that kind of a similar thing here?
Yeah, I believe so.
Actually, I'm not sure. We basically using the wish list we've created before. I think we can maybe put it somewhere in the common method or in the common class. I'm not sure now. It's on the progress, and I'm going to cover everything with API functional tests. And I'm on the process now, on this process. So I haven't finished it. And basically, I think that's it. Yeah, here is this product. Everything is correct. So one product to this customer wish list. Yeah, I think that's all.
So question, are you going to continue working on updating wishlist items because there are more data which can be updated, like comments and quantity, I believe, as well, like you cannot do it initially.
Yeah,
So
I think I'll cover it in the future. So if I started this, I think it would be right thing to do everything according to this epic. I mean, so what am I going to do is just cover maybe functional tests, and I'm going to create maybe delete, update methods, mutations. So that's my plan.
Okay, great. Yeah, that sounds really good. I think that would be awesome if we can get update functionality working too. Remember the tricky thing with wish lists is that for EE or commerce now, right? We can have multiple wish lists. So I don't remember what we decided in terms of developing for open source versus commerce. But that's something that could be potentially tricky. Like I don't know if we ever came up with a way of developing GraphQL for commerce. But for now, for open source, I think everything is in good shape because you've got one wish list there that you're basically managing, right, and adding products to. So just need to future-proof it to make sure that it will work with multiple wish lists. Anyway, just a comment. Okay, anyone else? Any other comments or questions about wish lists? There's a comment in the chat. Yeah, so the question is about development, general development of open source versus commerce. So our intentions for now to keep developing for open source only. I think since we do have partners involved that do have access to commerce as well, we want to make sure to enable those guys to develop for commerce if they want to. I'm actually a little bit unclear on what's needed there on our end, if anything, but we'll let us regroup internally here, and we'll provide an answer to that. Cool. All right, moving on. We've got mutations that have to do with cart operations and adding configurable products to cart. This is where we've got a stand-in video to show. So let me share my screen, and I can put that up if I find it. All right, hang on just a second. Open another tab. Here we go. All right, you guys should see my screen. Let's play the video.
I want to introduce a new functionality for GraphQL. It's adding configurable product to the cart. Let's start. So I want to show you this scheme of configurable product. I am adding the mutation of the name is add configurable product to cart, and some resolver. It's pretty simple. I will show you. Yeah, that's it. So let's return to our test. I have some example like this. Let's create new card. Put this hash to our cart ID. Copy this. Copy. Sorry. And what we have? We have our method. We have our cart ID. We have our cart items, data, and SKU which we want to add. The binary SKU, it is the same. So, and what we want to have as a result, our ID, quantity, and product name and SKU. So let's start and run it. That's it. We have our ID, our quantity ID, our SKU and name of configurable product. If I post it here, 3 for example, and run again, I have already 4 items of the same items. So that's the end. Thank you, guys.
All right. Any comments or questions on the call on what was just shown?
Yeah, it's not clear why we have to post option along with
test.
Yeah, let me jump to that part of the video.
Yeah, like here on line 9 and on line 7, I'm not sure like why we need to pass SKU in scope of data. But I believe we will discuss it in scope of code review because this was not code reviewed yet. It should potentially be enough to say what variant SKU you want to add and the quantity.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense to me. Any other comments? I know we had. I guess we had the guys from AtWix work on the initial implementation of the adding a simple product to cart. I don't know if you guys have any comments on how this is coming along. Okay, let's move on then. We've got our last item on the agenda, which was had to do with the product count field. I will stop sharing, pass the word to Yaro. Here we go.
Yeah, hey guys. So let me share my screen. Yeah, so recently I have created a new pull request that is related to the product count field of the category query. So basically, in current implementation, this field represents the corresponding field in the catalog category entity database table. And actually, it's not the most efficient way for getting the category products because, first of all, this value is not very useful on the storefront because it represents the number of all products in the category, no matter are these products sellable or not. And the second issue is this value in the database, for some reason, is not always correct. For example, on my instance, you can see even some negative values here. So yeah, and we decided to, and also regarding this issue, we have some related issues created by some users. For example, here is the first issue that says that products count should really be equal the number of fetched products. As you can see, we have only 4 products here, but products count 46. And the second issue, it's already closed, but it shows that this value might be a little bit confusing for users. For example, if a user requests products, he sees that he has 1 product in the category, but no items in return. So I have created a separate resolver on this matter to fetch amount of products that are sellable, and that will be fetched by using product items query. So if we have only 2 products visible, and so visible, I mean visible in catalog, and the products are in stock and have a positive quantity, and just to show the results. So that was the previous result. For example, we have only 1 item returned, but this field product count shows that we have 4 items. And after implementing a separate resolver, this value represents the real amount of products that will be returned in products item, so query. Also, this resolver does not affect the performance, should not affect the performance significantly, because in the scope of this resolver, we don't load the products collection. We only get the size of this collection, implementing some additional joins to the products collection. But we don't load the collection. Yeah, okay, that's it. Also, we also had some related issue, I remember, with the negative value of the product count. Unfortunately, I didn't have a chance to look for it in our issues, but I believe this pull request will also fix this issue of when we have the negative value here.
Cool, thank you. So one thing that comes to mind, from at least from my perspective, is that we want to make sure that this works with whenever the store displays products that are out of stock, or there's a configuration to basically whether you display those products or whether you don't display those products. But in both cases, it needs to be reflected accurately, right? If I'm a merchant and I choose to still display those items even though they're out of stock, those should be returned also, just not be able to get purchased, but they should be visible, and their information should be visible, and they should be included in the product count. And does that make sense?
Yeah, of course. So I took into account this point also, and I use to determine the product counts. I use the same collection processor that is used for the products section. So they will be the same. If the store is configured to show the out-of-stock products, they will be shown here, and they will be counted in the product count as well.
Cool, perfect. Thank you. I was trying to think of whether there's other other nuanced kind of configurations or scenarios for inventory, but nothing comes to mind anymore. I think this is good. Anyone else have any thoughts?
Maybe we also need to make sure that depending on current store, we have also correct numbers, because it's possible that some products are visible in specific stores because they just belong to different root categories. So I'm not sure. I would just test this and make sure that it works correctly in that scenario as well.
Okay, thank you for this suggestion, and I'm going to cover this fix with the IP functional tests, and maybe I will include the scenario C in these tests as well.
Thank you.
Cool, awesome. Thank you very much. All right, so that brings us to the end of the agenda. I'll ask if anyone has any kind of general updates on what they're working on. Or
I'm sorry, maybe we need to introduce Tom, who will help us with code quality.
Right here. So Tom, yeah, Tom's been, for those of you on the call who haven't met Tom, Tom is going to be, it was brought on to the community engineering team to help with our testing efforts. So he has basically the original developer of our MFTF framework, and so he has deep expertise in that field. And so we want to try to share the knowledge and share the wealth that he possesses to bring the testing kind of robustness, right, to our community projects. So look out for him, and he'll be getting more engaged and getting to meet you guys in the future. Yeah. Cool. All right. Anything else, Valeria? Anything from your side?
No, I don't have any major updates. Only one thing. We had a big event at Kyiv this weekend, MageConf, and we had contribution day. It was about 100 people, external plus internal guys. It was a great event. And mostly we was working on current issues, and we will demonstrate some result on the next demo.
Awesome. Yeah, we've noticed a lot of new people keep joining the project and contributing, which has been really awesome, because we feel like this is a great thing to work on, and we're always happy to welcome new contributors and new developers to the project. So it's been really nice. So thank you guys for your hard work. I know we've got veteran contributors that have been with us for a long time now, and not to forget those guys. We appreciate your work, obviously, too. So
sorry, we already have some questions in chat.
Oh, okay.
Some example, I see we can use examples, CMS, blog page, customer formattation, or you can find some examples in current open pull requests.
Oh, I did. Yeah, I did see you mention that your Mage2Gen GraphQL example. So Lewis, are you? I'm guessing are you on the call? Do you want to elaborate on what you're working with here? This would be great for us to kind of share what you're working on.
Yeah, actually. Do you have one moment?
Of course, we've got half an hour. So if you want to take 30 minutes, yeah.
Just a sec then. So we'll wait for Lewis for a little bit longer here, but it'd also be good to maybe give us a little bit of context. I thought I have seen you in the PWA channels mostly, but
if you can give us some background of what you've been working on, and or maybe what your company's been working on and where your interests lie, that'd be great too.
So I've been working on like Mage2Gen. 2 colleagues made it in the base, and I'm only like extending it with new snippets, so we can easily develop modules for Magento. And we've been working on 2.2 new integrations with models, and now also focusing on 2.3. Think about GraphQL, and also about the new database structures, because now it's going to be through the db schema.xml. That's all kinds of things we're going to do. But how can I start screen sharing? Because
it should be a green button at the bottom there. Can you tell us? I'm actually not super familiar with what Mage2Gen is. Can you give a little description?
I can give a little demo.
Oh, great.
This one. Share. So now you should be seeing my Mage2Gen screen. Is that correct?
That's right.
Okay. This is my local environment, in which you easily can generate modules. You give a vendor name, for me it's experience, a module name, and then you have all kinds of parts which you can then use. For example, you can create a block, just a simple block. You give it a class name, and then maybe a function you want in it. You can define for which scope it has to go. You give a layout handle with it, and then it generates the code exactly what you need for that. Then you can even download it. You can do it just through the command line, you get it. You can also create new modules, you can sign in, all the stuff, but where it's about is we have now like a switch for version. Currently on the live it's 2.1 and 2.2, and the new one is going to be there is 2.3, but in default we start with 2.2 because everybody is currently developing, of course, for 2.2. So if we now go to 2.3, what is the difference currently? Currently it's only the GraphQL snippet, which you can simply add. You give the class, because if I take a look at the Magento structure, it has always a separate module for every GraphQL API. For example, the CMS has CMS GraphQL. So if you take a look and you make example block GraphQL, that is for the class experience example block as defined here for the API block repository, and then you say the data for the interface. So it's the block interface. Then it generates currently this, like a schema, and the resolver and the data provider. The schema looks as follows. It's pretty basic, based on the CMS block. And then you can get items by the block ID, which currently he guesses based on a previously generated module. For example, here it uses the block interface, block ID. You can also always change that, of course. In existing module, you can easily do it by copying the file path, creating the file, copy the file content, and use it. But what I'm now currently having is the decision: do you have to do it for here, like for multiple blocks, which you can give an array of the identifiers which you want, or do you want it for a single block? What is the most common, probably? And for example, if you do it based on a model you have, So if you have previously generated blog content with an admin grid, admin form, and a web API, but the web API is going to be GraphQL, of course, and then it generates the same one. But in case of blog, you probably want both, because you want an overview page and a single page. But what is your opinion about that? You have any? Or do you want more information about how the basics that works, or it's clear for everybody? Did you hear me? Or?
Yeah, so to be honest, it's not clear, like why do we have a repository interface requirement when we create GraphQL module? So in general, in GraphQL, what you need like schema and you need arbitrary resolver, and there is even no need to have data provider. Like if it's available in CMS, it's just how CMS is implemented, but it's not any requirement for GraphQL in general. So
no, I understand, but I have based it currently on the CMS block. And I was wondering, are there maybe like other integrations which where the chances that it is going to be used more often, so you want to generate them?
to be honest, I didn't get like why do we need special endpoint for CMS block? Because right now we have generic queries for blocks and pages in CMS, which allow you to basically fetch anything.
I understand, but if you're, for example, creating an endpoint for a payment service provider to get payment information, it's maybe a weird example, but I think it's a legit example that you then want to generate multiple endpoints. Or am I incorrect?
To be honest, I still don't get like why do we have a repository interface here? Does it imply that
it's currently based for the repository interface, because when you currently create like models, you then want them to have later within GraphQL and PWA is coming. PWA.
Yeah, but we don't need any repository to fetch data for GraphQL. It can be via collection, it can be like anything. Like we do not restrict, like in current web APIs, we have restrictions that it must be on top of existing service contracts, which is usually like repository for CRUD operations.
Yes.
But GraphQL, we don't have such restriction. It can be anything, and usually in most cases, we will probably even not rely on existing service contracts just for performance reasons, just to get
I
it work.
understand, but what are in this case, I have built it just, for example, for the repository interface. But do you have like an example which you think is better? Like, what do you want for this? So this is not.
So what developer is expected to do after you generate some
like
example
a third-party module developer needs his own endpoints, and what do you then basically want to not write over and over again?
Yeah, I understand, but like since you usually do not depend on repository, like are you suggesting that you will generate this template based on repository and then developer should go and remove repository data provider because most likely he will not need it? Like, why don't we just generate the basic template which is common anywhere? So for that we need to have like a module as you did. Mm-hmm. Then we need to have schema with probably one query, and we need to have empty resolver, and that's it.
Okay, that's great. But do you have like one example I can use for that?
I don't think we have, because it will be basically example without any functionality. But if we have something implemented, it already has functionality. So
yeah, I understand.
Yeah, we can have a call after this. Yeah, we can have a call after this and discuss exactly what can be included in this default template, which makes sense for everybody.
Cool.
Yeah, and my name is Alex Palaros, by the way, so you can just reach me out on Slack, on community Slack, and we can
contact you.
Okay.
Yeah, this is thanks for showing us a demo. This is definitely a cool idea. I wasn't aware of this tool. I don't know if anyone has seen it, but so the point I understand is to kind of automatically generate this like boilerplate code, right? And then for developers to kind of fill in what they need to fill in. That is unique every time for each module, right?
Exactly.
Cool. Yeah, it definitely makes sense. I think for GraphQL is might be a little bit might need a few tweaks, but
sure.
definitely willing to work with you on that. So thanks for sharing, Lewis.
All the feedback is appreciated. Thank you.
Thanks.
Awesome. Well, with that, unless anybody, I'll give people in the room maybe one last chance to bring up any topics that they feel they want to discuss this week. Silence. Cool. All right. Well, thanks for participating, everybody. We will see you guys next week. Have a good one.
Thanks.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.